So let's say you're between 25 to 34 and you're making $4,000 a month on average. It's literally showing you how much money you can save a month. A month, bro. If you're saving $800 a month times 12, I'm not no crazy math person, but in a year, you're damn near at 9,600.
What's up, Back to a Family? Today we're going to tell you exactly how much money you need to have by a certain age or you're behind, right? So let's find out today if you're on track. And we have a lot of research here given to us from Ally. So shout out to Ally. But without further ado, I just want to get started already. So Newski, let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, so we're going to share a bunch of links with you guys, and all those links will be in the description below so you guys can follow along. But the first thing we really want to show you guys is essentially literally how people get started, right? And how much money currently people have saved, because that's the whole trend. So let's just go over some key stats. So it says right now, the majority of households, 98% have a transaction account, which is really a savings account. So that's good, right? Like, we know that we're saving. That's the good part. But now this is where he's trend in the wrong direction. It says less than half of US households, about 4 in 10, said they were able to cover a unexpected $1,000 expense like a car repair or a medical bill in January of 2022. So, bro, I know we spoke about this before, bro, but how do you feel about this one?
It's frustrating, man. Like, the fact that people still not like able to cover an $1,000 expense, man. It's like, you know, because I see people spending habits for real. People be outside, like, yeah. But then they don't got no savings, or they not handling priorities, right? You can't even pay your bills, but you got Louis V on and this and that. And it's like, man, in 2023, with the rise of social media, people showing you financial literacy tips like the Bag Talk Show, you still don't have your savings in order. To me, it's like, man, what are we doing?
Yeah, and for those people right now, because I know people try to like say like, yo, sometimes life is hard, you know, $1,000 is hard to come up with, but that's literally the point why you have to prep for those hard times by having savings. So for my people who say that, this is why you need to be listening. Like, $1,000 in the grand scheme of things is not that much to have saved if you literally go and save $100 a month. Literally $100 a month. And you can save that by not going out on a weekend, right? So that's not fair to yourself if you say, oh my God, I can't have that. So don't come up here with that, right? Let's go on to the other one. Meanwhile, 58% of adults surveyed in June of 2022 said they were uneasy with their level of emergency savings. So let me get this straight, right? More than half of the people in the country are saying they're uneasy with savings, but then they don't have $1,000 saved up. So that's like me saying, bro, I have a medical problem. I know I'm struggling, but yeah, I'm not going to the doctor though. Like, that makes no sense.
Legit.
Right? It blows my mind. And this is the other part. And I'm gonna let you comment on this one, right? So most American adults, this is the crazy part, about 76% have not seen an increase in their emergency saving balance over the last year, bro. Like, wow. 3/4 have not seen an increase. So you're not saving, right? I don't think many of you guys are really investing. So what are you doing? Spending?
I mean, yeah, you can actually, it's funny because we can actually check that. I'm not saying check it right now. I'm just saying, like, there's numbers that show we're spending as a country. We're actually spending at a very high rate right now. Like, spending in America is high right now. So if spending is high and savings has stayed stagnant, that shows you where everybody's priorities at. The
truth broke the record. You remember how we broke the record in Black Friday and then Cyber Monday? We spent billions of dollars.
Yeah, for online sales, we definitely broke the record. Absolutely.
Like, that's wild to me because we're spending so much money. I hear people going on vacations, but then you're not increasing your savings. So that's what we want to cover right off the bat, because that's extremely important for you guys to understand, right? And before we go into exactly how much you need to have saved, there's one thing we want to cover, right? You guys have to like this video, because a lot of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe and like this video so we can continue. But let's continue on this one, right? What is the average savings right now? Average saving for a regular savings account in the country is right here, 0.22%. That's not that much, right? And I know y'all are saying, why would we save money? This is why you guys can save money. You guys do not only have to save money when it comes to just your regular Bank of America, right? That's not where you have to put your money. There are certain things called high yield savings account, which is exactly what we want to show you guys. So there's a bunch of them that you see right here on the screen, right? And there's other ones as well. If I scroll down, there's Markets by Goldman Sachs, which I personally use. There's American Express, National Bank as well, that have a better rate than the actual average. So if you could get 3% back on your savings, especially in this market, you would take that, right? Because you're not investing, so you're losing money. But if you put your money in a high yield savings account, which these numbers fluctuate, but it's still a better return than the average. So Raul, if you were a regular person, wouldn't it make sense to actually put your money here?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when the stock market is down, man, and like inflation is super high. You want to make sure you're getting a return on your money somewhere. And that's the easiest way right there. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Exactly. So if y'all haven't checked these out, I definitely encourage you to check them out. I will put the link below so you guys can follow along. But now let's get into how much money you need to have saved by a certain age. And remember, this is all based on Ally, so shout out to them. We're not taking any credit for this. We just wanted to share this with you so you guys can follow along. But this is where things get interesting, right? So you guys see a graph right in front of you right now. And this is by age group. So it says under 35, your average saving balance should be $11,200. And then you notice a big jump from 35 to 44. That's where really our families come in, right? I would say 27,000, 45 to 54, 48,000. And then you see further and further and further. But Raul, what do you think about these numbers, bro? You think these are accurate? Like, how do you feel about them?
I mean, looking at them, it makes a lot of sense to me because especially depending on the state you are, when you actually do your budget and you look to see what your expenses are, I mean, let's say your expenses per month in New York are $4,000, which sounds very accurate for like a single person living in New York by themselves. 4,000 times 3 months will be 12,000, and they're saying that you should have about 11,200 in your savings account. Right, so off the rip, they're already saying, even really, to be honest, a little less than 3 months of.
I was about to say, bro, you're being on the lower side. You're saying 3 months. That's exactly. A bare minimum.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're like undercutting it for real because it really should be minimum 12,000 if you're like for New York, but they're probably taking a national average. So then I can see how the numbers will come down because not everybody's expensive as New York, unfortunately, right? We got it bad out here, but that makes sense. I would say that they're probably basing this off of national averages of expenses and then doing a 3-month number. If I had to guess, that's what it's looking like. And to be honest, I think people should have more than 3 months, especially seeing what happened in this economy, in this market, inflation, stock market, everything. You've seen what it looked like. So clearly you need more of a cushion. You got a lot of job layoffs happening right now. We just did a video on that, so make sure you check that out. We just dropped out last week about job layoffs, and there's more coming for sure this year. So you kind of want to make sure that you're setting yourself up to not just die out or go broke because you didn't plan effectively.
That's a fact. And this is the thing, right? When it comes to savings, guys, like, as we said, depending on the state you're in, things can be different, right? There's certain states where you're not really spending $4,000 a month. You might be spending on average $2,500. So even if you have $9,000, you have a cushion. So just keep that in mind. Now, Raul, do you think this is like achievable? Do you think people, if they budget properly, which many of you guys usually don't budget from what we've researched, do you think if they budget properly, this is achievable?
This is more than achievable. You have to look at also the time span that they're telling you to achieve these numbers by, under 35. So let's say a person started working at 23. You know what I'm saying? They're giving you almost 12 years to achieve that number. You have more than enough time to achieve that number. And then even from 35 to 44, that's 9 years that you got to achieve that number from the 11,200 number, right? So you have like a solid amount of time to build these. It doesn't even take that much effort. Like it literally just takes dedication to allocating a certain amount of money to your savings account before you go and spend it on all your Louis V and your Miami vacations and this and that. Like just a little bit of discipline, and you could actually automate this. You could literally automate this and send your checks, a certain portion of your checks, directly to a savings account before you even spend it elsewhere. So I just wish that people were more dedicated to actually setting their life up as well as their family's life up, because this is, especially after that 35 age, a lot of people have families around that time, even before it too, but I'm just saying. And so it's like, if you know other people are dependent on you, it's almost selfish to not set yourself up the right way. But that's how I feel about it. Like, I don't know what about you, bro? How you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, right? So if you think about it, if you've been subscribed to the channel, you've been following the show, we've been giving a lot of tips. We have a whole budget calculator for you to actually use to figure out how much you spend on a monthly basis, how much you should invest, how much you should save, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that piece of it where I'm like, yo, you guys should have this. But if you really don't have $10,000 saved at this point in your life and you're in that age group, you're a disappointment. You should be ashamed of yourself, because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you don't have enough money saved up to cover yourself or your loved ones. And if you can't protect yourself or your loved ones at this age, you're honestly a waste person. Like, it doesn't make sense to even be there, because you're not providing any value to yourself or your family. And that's just not cool, bro. Like, you got to grow up at some point. And that's the thing that I think it frustrates me, because at the end of the day, it's not that hard to save $1,000 a year. And if you do that, you'll be at that number. But people are lazy. And since you're lazy, you're not going to be at that number. Right.
Yeah,
That's truly how I feel about it. Because at the end of the day, I'm tired of being here and talking about all this stuff and trying to help out, but people don't take action.
people aren't taking action, and the frustration comes from, it's people that we associate with on a daily basis, people that we talk to time and time again, people asking us for advice, not taking action on it. And it's like, it's easy to put a number on it, because we're thinking about people who have the salary to save that amount. So, like, especially with certain salaries, to not have that number is like, bro, what are you doing? Versus, like, we also know people, of course, there's always outliers. We're not talking to outliers, people who really are severely on a check to check base. Like, really, like, there's really dire situations to where I can understand it. I'm sure Newski can understand it. We're talking about the majority, because we're not here to, like, sugarcoat or nothing. Like, let's talk about the majority of y'all. Majority of y'all listening could absolutely save that number up if you would have really just put the time in. So I don't really want to hear the excuses. Like, really look at how much you spent on said items over the past year, and then you'll be like, dang, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't have to spend that much on fast food. That could have came to the here. Or dang, I did buy drinks this much this year. Like, I could have went. This vacation didn't have to happen, because dang, I don't even got savings. So how am I vacationing? Like, what am I celebrating? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, let's be real.
Bro, and it's wild because you're saying drinks and alcohol. Bro, I cut back on drinking because it was a personal decision, right? And that's allowed me to save a lot more money, but that's not why I did it. I did it because I wanted to be in a better state of mind. I wanted to function better. And that allowed me to save money, which is an easy way to cut back. And people still don't follow that. Like, you know what I'm saying? They still will not do it. And this right here, if you don't want to follow our budget, you don't want to put in your numbers, you don't want to do anything, bro, Ally provided this for you. Here's a 50, 30, 20 monthly budget for you guys to follow for the ages of 20 to 24, 25 to 34. And it's showing your average monthly salary. So let's say you're between 25 to 34 and you're making $4,000 a month on average. It's literally showing you how much money you can save a month. A month, bro. If you're saving $800 a month times 12, I'm not no crazy math person, but in a year, you're damn near at 9,600. Just think about that. In 1 year, you would hit that. You do that 2 years, right? Now you're above that 12,000 number. You have enough saved to protect yourself. And in this market, we need that. Like, y'all have to stop playing games with your own families and your own lives and just, once again, grow up. And I think that's just right there in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely, bro. The proof is in the numbers. The proof is literally in the numbers, yo. It's just at a point you just gotta take action. Look yourself in the mirror and really ask if you're giving your best effort. If you really care about the people around you, because this, a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of this is bigger than you. You got people that depend on you. So it's time you take action. It's time you set yourself up the right way. It's also just an easier way of living. Like, it's very uncomfortable to be living and thinking like, man, if an emergency happens, I'm gonna be dead. Like, I'm done for. Like,
that's a terrible feeling. That's
a
terrible feeling. And look, right? If you think 50%, I agree. That's very drastic, right? It's extreme. So just cut that, bro. Maybe make that 50, go to 75. You're still able to save $400 a month. If you multiply that by 12, right? You're at 4,800. And then you do that again, you're there, and you get a little increase. You cut back on expending. It happens very easily. So what we want y'all to do right now is take action. Have a monthly budget and take our free template and use it, right? Number two, go and put your money in a high yield savings account. We'll put some links in the description below, which you could actually use yourself. And then just take action and start. That's the only way things are going to move in motion. So that's all we want to say today. Hopefully you like this episode. And please make sure, if you're still watching, to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Plus hit that little notification bell because we drop
2 videos a week.
And you don't want to miss them. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out the next episode. Until then, peace.
Peace.
Soundstripe.